أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing great, and I also hope that you have practiced the patterns for past tense that we did in the previous lesson thoroughly, and that you guys can now identify the past tense patterns, the fi'l mazi patterns, okay, along with the exposed files and all, and the unexposed file, and all the good points that I mentioned in that lesson. Okay, so I hope that you know them off by heart by now, inshallah. Now we are going to do the same thing for present tense, fi'l muzari. Okay, and as I promised in the previous lesson, this lesson is going to be much shorter and only about the patterns, because all the cardinal rules about the file, unexposed, exposed file, maf'ul, the Arab for maf'ul and file, all right, which kind of um, pattern you're going to use for an exposed file, okay, all of those things, all of those very important points have already been covered in the previous lesson. So this one is only going to tell you the patterns for fi'l muzari, or the present tense. Okay, now in Arabic, fi'l muzari is kind of a collective term for future as well as this thing for future as well as present tense. Okay, so they come under the same banner, muzara or muzaria. Okay, so we are only going to study the patterns, because all of these rules also hold true for now all the rules that I studied, that I taught in the previous lesson, also hold true for fi'l mudari. Alright, so there's no need to repeat all these things. If you want to listen to those rules, I would really urge you to go back to lesson 5 and watch it till the end. Alright, because every second of that lesson is priceless. It has many important points that you must be absolutely aware of while using file and fail and all these things. Okay, so go back to lesson 5, give it a watch. I know it's 35 minutes long, but never mind, okay, because all of the very important points have been mentioned in that lesson. So without further ado, now we're going to begin our patterns for fi'l mudari. Okay, so we did this chart in the previous lesson too. Okay, however, that was for your past tense. All right, so the patterns were different, and uh, assuming that you have already watched that lesson, I'm going to carry on with the patterns and the concepts for this lesson. Okay, so as you can see, there are rafa pronouns: huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antuna, ana, nahnu. And just as I told you that these rafa pronouns are kind of embedded in the pattern. All right, so if you have the word, for example, abidatani, this is something that I told you in the previous lesson as well. And in case you have done the ism really well, then you would know just by looking at this word abidatani that this word is feminine. Why? Because of this tani suffix. Then it is rafa. All right. Why? Because this is tani and not tiny. All right. It's rafa. Okay, rafa. And then it is nakra. Why? Because you cannot see any reason for it to be marfa, and because of course the most common one of them is it having al. Okay, so it is not attached with al, it is not mu'arraf bil lam, therefore it is nakra. All right, nakra. And most importantly, it is to a number, musanna, 2p. Okay, why? Because of the stani suffix. Okay, so these four things can be understood just by looking at this word abidatani. In the very similar manner, the fact that the doer is huwa can be understood just by looking at the word yaf'ulu. Okay, so that is what you need to know. I hope that this thing is clear from the previous lesson. So hiya is, for example, embedded in taf'ulu. Antuma is embedded in taf'ulani. Antunna is embedded in taf'ulna. Alright, nahnu is embedded in naf'ulu. Okay, you don't need to say it, but if you want to say it, and there are some cases where you want to put some stress on the file, so you do, take this, you mention this nahnu separately. Okay, so nahnu naf'ulu. If you want, you can practice it this way, but if you don't want to, just remember the pattern. All right, that is what it is going to take. Simply memorize the patterns. Okay, now the biggest and the most important thing is that your rafa pronouns are embedded in the pattern that they are meant to be embedded in. Okay, so with this point done, let's proceed to our patterns. Okay, fi'l muzari. Once again, you cannot see the pointer, you cannot see the pronouns over here, the rafa pronouns over here, because as I mentioned above, they are embedded in the pattern, so I'm not going to mention them. Okay, now let's come to the identification points or the identification tips. Okay, the first thing that you need to observe is that unlike the fi'l mazi patterns, these patterns have two kinds of um, add-ons. Okay, so over there in fi'l mazi there was only one add-on, and that was a suffix. For example, fa'alat, that was the pronoun for hiya, okay, she. Similarly, antum was embedded in fa'altum. Okay, so fa'altum was having the suffix of tum, and that showed us that the doer was antum. Okay, here there are two kinds of add-ons. The first add-on is the one that is going to come in the beginning as a prefix, and the second one, or the second add-on, is the one that is going to be added as a suffix. All right, and with the exception of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these 5 patterns, all of them going to have two add-ons. Okay, all of them are going to have two add-ons. So yansuru, tansuru, tansuru, ansuru, nansuru. Apart from these 5, all the patterns are going to have two add-ons. Okay, one as a prefix, one as a suffix. Prefix, suffix, prefix, suffix, prefix, suffix, prefix, suffix, so on and so forth. All right, but these 5 are going to have only one add-on, and that is going to be your not this tansurina. All right, and that is going to be your prefix and not a suffix. Okay, now why is this important? This is important because each add-on is going to tell you a different thing. Okay, so for example, if you had al-abidatani, okay, here your first add-on was al, that told you that it is nakra, that it is marfa. Okay, and its absence would tell you that the noun is nakra. Okay, and the second add-on was the suffix of tani, that told you two things. That told you that a word is musanna and as well as grammatically feminine, abidat tani, because of the suffix of tani, and musanna and rafa. All right, so it told you three things actually. Okay, so tani told you that the grammatical gender is feminine, it told you that the i'rab is rafa, and it told you that this is actually musanna that you're talking about. Okay, similarly, these add-ons are going to tell you different things. The first add-on, the blue one, is going to tell you who it is. Okay, over here, everywhere. The first add-on is going to tell you who is the doer, whether it's he or she or all of them or you or who, whatever. Okay, or we or I. Okay, so that's what the first add-on is going to tell you. Who is the doer? And the second add-on is going to tell you how many of them there are, and kind of gender too. Not exactly gender, but how many they are. Okay, so that's what. All right, let's look at it closely now. So first of all, let's do the pattern with single add-on. All right, so first of all, we have yansuru. Here we have ya. All right, and there is only one add-on. All right, ya, and it means it is the version for huwa. Okay, huwa yansuru, he helps. All right, now this is wrong. Haha. All right, never mind. I'm just gonna correct it here. Okay, so he, she, or they helps. I'm sorry, he helps, she helps, or they help. Okay, you, both of you, all of you help. I help, we help. Okay, so this is present or future, or yeah, future tense. Never mind. Now there are some ways to make it future, but we will discuss all of that in the next section. Here, simply focus on identifying these patterns. Okay, because this would save you a lot of time. This thing requires time and practice. That's why I have introduced this little topic over here in this ism section. Okay, anyways, back to our topic. So he or she helps, they help. Okay, now yansuru means he helps. Why? Because of this ya over here. Okay, all right. Next we have tansuru. The is your universal Arabic sign for feminine. Okay, however, there are some exceptions to it, and we are going to cover it right here in this next point. We have another tansuru. All right, so just as we had huma and then another huma in the rafa pronouns, similarly we have antuma and another antuma. All right, similarly, in a very similar manner, we're going to have two tansurus. Okay, we have tansuru number one, tansuru number two. Now, one tansuru is going to mean the hiya version. Okay, another tansuru version is going to be for anta version. Okay, and how are you going to differentiate between them? Context, nothing else. Okay, you are just going to know what's being talked about. You would know, trust me. Okay, focus on remembering these patterns at this moment. Don't focus on how you're going to, or what are the, you know, other points that I need to mention here, or how am I going to remember it, how am I going to tell it apart. You are going to be able to tell it apart successfully, inshallah. Okay, but at this moment, simply focus on what I'm asking you to focus on. Okay, remember, identify these patterns. Okay, all right. So yansuru had a ya in the beginning and only one add-on, so it meant the hua version. Okay, then tansuru is for hiya as well as anta version. Okay, tansuru and then another tansuru. All right, jump here. You have ansuru, single add-on with hamza. All right, alif having any haircut is called hamza. I hope you remember that. This was the first lesson, by the way. Okay, so ansuru. Here, what do you see? You see single add-on of hamza, and the pattern, rest of the pattern seems to be the same. Therefore, this is I, ana. Okay, ana, ansuru. The rafa pronoun of ana is embedded in ansuru. Okay, that's what. And then finally, nansuru. This noon is once again kind of taken as a universal sign in the Arabic language for we. Okay, once again, there are exceptions to it, all right? And just remember that this single add-on of noon is for we, or simply nahnu. Okay, so that's what. Yansuru is for hua, tansuru is for either hiya or anta, ansuru is for ana, nansuru is for nahnu. Okay, remember this thing. Okay, all right, so we are done with the single add-ons now. Now let's come to the double add-ons. Okay, so you've got an add-on in the beginning as a prefix, and you've got another add-on as a suffix. Okay, so for example, you have yansurani. First of all, you have ya. All right, same add-on, and the second one is a suffix of ani. Now, Ani, come on. I mean, you should be able to identify it yourself now. It's the classic Musanna ending from Lisaan. Okay, Ani is your Musanna ending, no matter what. Okay, and that's what you can observe. Yansurani, Tansurani, Tansurani, Tansurani. Okay, once again, context is going to play a huge part in this differentiation. Okay, so you've got Yansurani for Huma, masculine Huma. Okay, and then you've got Tansurani for huma, for feminine huma, all right, for um, antuma masculine as well as antuma feminine. Okay, just remember, and once again, context will tell you how to interpret this word. Just remember, yansurani is for the masculine huma, and tansurani can either be antuma or feminine huma. Okay, all right. And once again, ani, 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 classic musanna endings. You should know these now, by now. All right, all right. Finally, well, not finally. Second last actually. So you've got another pattern for the fi'l muzare, and once again you have two add-ons. You've got the add-on of prefix, all right, ya, and then you have the add-on of suffix una, all right. So this ya and then the una is going to become yansuruna, and right in the middle you can see your root word or the root letters, all right. Yansuruna, okay. So yansuruna, all of them masculine or collective noun help, okay, or will help, okay. Yansuruna. Same the case here in tansuruna, okay. Tansuruna has the on it. Una is the same, okay. So that's what. So this tansuruna has antum embedded in it. Yansuruna has hum embedded in it, okay. All right, finally we have the last, no, not finally. We still have these three. So this pattern is kind of different, all right. There is no u here, there is sukoon on the third root letter, okay. So the last root letter is going to have a sukoon, and then you have your add-ons added to it, okay, not this one but this one, okay. So it becomes yansurna, tansurna, and this the is for antuna, and this ya is actually for hunna, okay. So you cannot generalize that if the first add-on is going to be ya, then it's going to be all masculine. Nope, it's not, because you still have yansurna, okay. However, what you can generalize kind of is that if you have ya, then it's going to be the third person, with the exception of tansuru and tansurani, okay. So don't don't focus on these things, all right. Just know these things. It's good to know because they would help you in remembering these patterns. But what you need to know actually is these add-ons, okay, and what they signify, and a lot of practice, okay, because this thing can be a bit difficult in the beginning, but once you practice a lot, this thing is going to become super easy, inshallah. Okay, now with our final pattern here, this is the only pattern where you're going to observe a kasra on the last root letter, all right. So just as we had anti, right? Then we have anti fa'alti, all right? We are going to have tansuri, and then prolong the sound and then add na, okay? Tansurina. Tansurina means, all right, I did it. All right, so tansurina means anti. You, feminine, singular, help, okay? Tansurina. Now let's go through it in a sequence, all right, so that you know how to uh, do this thing. So yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, tansuru, tansurani, yansurna, tansuru, once again for anta, tansurani, tansuruna, tansurina, tansurani, tansurna, ansuru, nansuru, all right. So you can you also remember it by making the groups, okay. So you've got this first group, yansuru, tansuru, tansuru, ansuru, nansuru, all right. Then you have another group for the musannas. You have yansurani, tansurani, 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 all right. Then you have another group for the jama salim of masculines. So you have, not jama salim, I'm sorry, jama for masculines. You have yansuruna, tansuruna, tansuruna for antum, yansuruna for hum, Okay, then you have hunna and antunna, and what would you get? You get yansurna, all right. Then you get tansurna, all right, and then this anti is independent, all right, and separate from everything else, so it's going to become tansurina, all right. And however, the basic concept remains the same, that is going to have a kasra, all right. So we had anti, we had fa'alti, so it's going to be tansurina, all right. So once again, as I said earlier on, you're going to require a lot of practice for this. All right. I would encourage you to just keep these blocks in your mind, all right, and then practice them in this direction. Okay. So you're going to practice it as yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna, tansuru, tansurani, yansurna, tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna, tansurina, tansurani, tansurna, ansuru, nansuru. Okay. So what you can do, what I did actually, was that I had taken one line, okay, and I had set it as my desktop, I'm sorry, my mobile wallpaper on the lock screen, right? So every time I unlocked my phone, I would just have to, revise this pattern, all right, this line of the patterns, and then I would be allowed to, unlock it and then do whatever I have to do on my phone. So this would serve as a very good way to help you memorize these things, all right. And once you've memorized this, then you can take another screenshot, and then you can take the screenshot of all these 6 patterns. All right, so once you've done with this, you would then add this one to the screenshot, then this one too, and then you can make the entire table as your wallpaper for your lock screen, and that's how you would be able to view it as often as possible. Okay, so once again, this thing requires a lot of practice, but it is all logical. I tried to explain all of these things very logically. I hope that I have succeeded, and of course, if there's anything, you can always uh, you know uh, reach out to me. All right, now this little thing here simply says the thing that we have already established in the previous lesson, and it simply says that use the purple block or simply the Hia and Hua version for the exposed file, regardless of its number. Okay, so as we did for um, for the exposed file in the previous lesson in the Mazi, Fail Mazi section lesson, what did we do? We used the Hua or Hia version for any exposed file. Okay, so we had Nasara Waladun, Nasara Muslimani, Nasara Muslimuna, for example. And then if the exposed file was a feminine noun, then we would have used the Nasarat or Fa'alat version. Okay, so Nasarat Muslimatun, Nasarat Muslimatani, Nasarat Muslimatu. All right, so, and of course, this is regardless of the number of file, exposed file. All right, um, if you want to use the fill with a file, then with the exposed file, then it's only the Hua or Hia versions, nothing else. Okay, so this is something that we can see in this lesson as well, in Fil Muzari as well, that we have Yansuru Waladun, Yansuru Muslimani, two exposed files, masculine, therefore Yansuru. Okay, similarly, Yansuru Muslimuna. If it were a feminine exposed file, then Tansuru. Remember how we had Tansuru for Anta as well as here. Okay, so this is one thing that that is going to help you differentiate between the type of Tansuru being used. All right, so we have Tansuru for Anta as well as here, and here, since you can see the exposed file, all right, Muslimatun, so you can understand very clearly that since only here version can be used with an exposed file, this Tansuru means she, all right, is the here version. Okay, so Tansuru Muslimatun, who helped, oh, I'm sorry, who helps is a feminine Muslim helps. Okay, similarly, Tansuru Muslimatani, Muslimatani is Musanna and feminine, therefore it's going to be Tansuru. All right, and once again, Tansurul Muslimatu. Quite easy, isn't it? All right, then one last thing that I mentioned before, but very briefly. But let's go through it again. This key over here, this red portion of the pattern, the suffix, that is, all right, suffix rather, all right. The suffix tells you how many are there, all right. So how many files are there? For example, in Tansurna, it's your Jama, all right. Now there is Tansurna and there is Yansurna, all right. So, and similarly, you have Tansuruna. Tansuruna or Yansuruna would be for number. How many are they? Okay, whether it's hum or antum. So you're going to get the number, that how many are they. That's how you're going to work out the suffix. But that's what you're going to work out from the suffix. Okay, then you have the beginning, or the prefix. Okay, the prefix is going to tell you who it is and the grammatical gender. Okay, so you have Ansaru here, it is only one single add-on of Hamza. You're going to know that since Hamza is present, which by the way looks like an I, okay, and I means Ana, all right, so you can remember this thing from here. Okay, so I is your um, exposed file, okay, or non-exposed, sorry, not the exposed file, but file, okay, because remember the exposed file can only be used with ya or hua version, nothing else. Okay, Ansuru means I help, Nansuru we help. Okay, so prefix is going to tell you who it is and the grammatical gender. All right, Nansuru is, and then of course Tansuru or Tansurina, these things are going to tell you in combination the grammatical gender, who it was, and then the suffix is going to tell you how many are they. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to solve the worksheet from the group, and I hope that you guys memorize this thing, because the sooner you practice and memorize these patterns, it will be better for you to move seamlessly in the next section, where we are going to study only the basics, or the not the basics exactly, but the technical points revolving around the tenses. Okay, so in this lesson, in this section, while we are doing section B, I'm sorry, section C, I would urge you to memorize these patterns and be able to identify them. Okay, that's what. Oh, by the way, don't fidget, or don't worry if you see different harakat, if you see the same add-ons but different harakat. All right, this would simply mean that some different pattern or some different implication has been present on this thing, on the pattern, on the field. Okay, if you see the same add-ons for suffix or for your prefix, then it would mean that it is either going to be Muzari or Mazi. But if you see some difference in the harakat, don't worry, it's totally fine. It is only going to tell you that some other implication or meaning has been imparted to the word. Okay, so don't worry about that. This is the standard meaning, or these are the standard harakat that I would want you to know at this stage. Okay, so remember these, memorize these patterns, they are really important. And I'll see you in the next lesson, where we are going to have an enormous and intense practice about these present as well as the past tense patterns. And inshallah, we're going to have not only this practice, but we're also going to work on how we can identify various kind of attached or compound words having these suffixes and prefixes. Okay, so in the next lesson, till the next lesson rather, I'm gonna take your leave, and I'm gonna leave you on your own for practice and memorization of these patterns. Okay, so barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.